Wait. Just a short video explaining on why aim trainers are pretty much false advertisements on high level of play, because I've seen quite a few of those saying that, well, you can get godlike aim in just under a month with my aim trainer XXYY, and that's just straight up wrong. Like, that's a lie. But it's not that aim trainers are completely useless, but like on high levels they don't make a difference at all. So first of all, why? To know why, we gotta take a few things apart, mainly aim. And aim itself consists of two parts, which is flicking and tracking, like staying on target and stuff, or tracking moving targets. And yeah, this is pretty much for all games the same thing. I'm just having Counter-Strike here as an example because it's, at least to me, the easiest to just fire up and record. So yeah, for flicking, what aim trainers do provide is most of the time, let me just, how do I do that again? Need bullet holes. Like, they have a few of those targets appearing, and you gotta flick to those targets and click. Like, yeah, just somehow click to the targets like this. And like, the benefits of that is like, the biggest benefit of all is like when you have like a set of targets to aim at, you get your mouse, like you get the feeling of your mouse pretty fast, like how to grab your mouse, what feels comfortable, what doesn't feel comfortable. And like when you get home for a work day or something, it's pretty good warm-up. I get to that later too, like just picking up your mouse and like getting comfortable with its shape again and stuff, like where you want to place your fingers, your palm and so on, where you want to rest your hand. Like, this is pretty good way to get to it, just these sort of flick training. Also, it gives you rough muscle memory, like aiming from point A to B in back and forth motions. That's something that this is really good at. So yeah, that's quite a good feat for aim trainers. Like, mad props to that property, because most games, like when you go to Counter-Strike, this aimbots right here, this map, what we are seeing now, is pretty much the best warm-up you can get for most people. Some people like others better, which, well, it's just some bots placed around here, they don't do anything, and you can just pop them in the head, wherever that was not a headshot. And yeah, that's kind of warm-up, but you mainly get, like, you don't get as much movement going unless you, for example, go in here and start doing like bigger flicks and stuff, which I cannot hit because I'm a license player. And yeah, other than that, it's pretty good warm-up, better than what most in-game warm-ups provide for flicking. But it also has some like disadvantages, some bad points about it, and my timer's gonna run out. I hope the game won't close. Thing is, most of the time, like, the points you have at your wall, they are spaced apart in a manner that doesn't make much sense. You get a lot of unreal angles to flick. Like in most games, for example, going from here to here, this sort of flick, it's very, very rare to have such a flick in a game. Like, be it Valorant or Counter-Strike or, well, something else. Most of the time, you don't really need to do that, because if we look at Counter-Strike, for example, a very important factor in Counter-Strike is crosshair placement. And most of the time you have your crosshair already at or around head level of an approaching enemy. Game didn't end nice. So, like, worst case scenario, you're like off by this much and you only need to correct this and not this. So it might get you into a habit of just aiming straight instead of at correct angles, and then just trying to compensate with your flicks, which isn't the best idea. And for other games, such like maybe you're playing Quake and you want to get your railgun up and like only get one shot with like huge shot intervals. Thing is, like, crosshair placement doesn't matter as much with Quake. It still does matter a lot, but you get to have quite huge flicks because movement speed is quite fast in Quake and similar games. But thing is, hitboxes are also greater in Quake because you don't need to go for headshots, at least in Quake Live. I don't know how it is when Quake Champions. Like, you just need to hit the body with your bigger flicks, which is way easier than hitting the head, as it is in Counter-Strike. But, well, Counter-Strike has slower movement speeds, and crosshair placement has gives you much easier flicks. Like, most of the time you'll be close to the head. So, yeah. You get kind of unreal situations with the flick training in aim trainers, and might get you into a habit of like not using your crosshair placement correctly, and also it might impact your awareness because like you want to aim where an enemy is likely to come from, and like in Counter-Strike, for example, you need to look for quite a lot of variables when it comes to that. Like your type of angle, are you holding an off angle, means that enemies are going to swing wide, so if like this is your wall, you gotta keep your crosshair a bit further because enemies won't expect you in that corner. And are you expecting sort of rush or lurk play, meaning are enemies just gonna sneak peek out, or are they gonna run and fucking knives in their hand or something? Also, same accounts for like Quake or like games in that direction, like more arena style games. Like, are you trying to hold off a point? Are enemies gonna come up towards you, or are you like trying to get a flag back? So enemies are trying to run away from you. Are you in a duel? Do you have the advantage in a duel? What type of weapon, what type of armor does your enemy have? So that sort of awareness is really important. Is like especially when it comes to aim, because it alters your sort of expectations of what the enemy is going to do, and depending on what the enemy is going to do, you're going to aim differently. Like if you expect them to just run at you, you of course you don't want to like adjust for tracking at all. You just need to have like one flick and then just hold the left mouse button or something. Or like if you expect an enemy to rush by a corner or something, you want to not hold the corner exactly, but aim a bit outwards, prepare for flicks in one motion in one direction, because enemies is just like the enemy is just not gonna stop, and all of that. Like awareness is a big part of aim, and like just having you from flick to one to the next target might get you into a sort of bad habit with that. So keep that in mind. By that, we can sort of derive how exactly we want to play and how exactly we want to train aim if you want to practice your aim really well. Like most of the time, for flicks at least, you want to have some sort of flickable range where you can hit your shot like close to 100% of the time. Because what it boils down to, at least in Counter-Strike, on high levels, engagements are just nothing but chance. Like you have your statistics of winning your duels and losing your duels, and you want to win the matchups that you are supposed to win. For example, if you're catching an enemy by surprise, and oh, they all just turned nice. Like if you're catching an enemy by surprise, and your crosshair is near them, and you have like only this flick to shoot, you expect it to win. So it makes sense to have this boiled down, like this small sort of flick, and not huge ass flicks to tiny little heads, like points that are way smaller than heads. Also something like the points are really tiny in aim trainers. I'm gonna get to that right away. And yeah, you really want to win this matchup and not this matchup. Like this is something that you're not supposed to win. Of course, it's cool if you do win, but most of the time your positioning, your awareness, and like how you play and what you do in game aside from aiming will most of the time rule this engagement completely out. Like this is a rare engagement. This is a common engagement. At least you want to play this way, that you have engagements that you can win more commonly, which of course it doesn't play a big role into aim, but it helps you win engagements, which in the end will make you look better in terms of aiming, because well, you're hitting just easy shots, but still you're hitting your shots, and 30 kills on the board are 30 kills on the board. And yeah, the other point that I just wanted to make, which I just got to, is like that the targets are really small in these aim trainers. Like it gets some people, like I have seen some, like quite a lot actually. I've seen quite a lot of people getting into sort of bad habits with their aiming style, where they don't flick to the point and snap to it, but just flick like somehow next to it and then micro adjust, flick next to it, micro adjust, flick next to it, micro adjust, because it's faster and it gives them like a better time in the leaderboards or something. But that's not how you aim in the end, because like if you flick off and then micro adjust, like even though it might be faster to do that, it's not what's gonna in the end win your close range common engagements, the one that you do want to win when you do want to win in the games. So it's much more important to get your snapping done, which is, well, you start slow until you know that you can hit your targets, like just one smooth motion. You want to have your aim snappy. You don't want to move like here and then micro adjust, move like here, micro adjust. No, you want to have your aim snappy, like start off slow, and then you can go faster to have some sort of instant flicks, which I cannot do because I haven't played this game in weeks, but you sort of get the point. Like, you want to hit these in the end, which I cannot, but sort of these. And yeah, so much for flicking. How to exactly practice that the best way, I'm gonna get to that later. Now for tracking. Tracking, as I've said, like your ability to stay on target and track moving targets. I don't want to make the bots move now. Aim trainers provide some sort of moving target that okay, I'm dumb. Well, aim trainers provide some sort of moving target, like a moving cylinder or something that's just like oval shaped and just goes left to right and left to right, and you gotta track it with your mouse. And well, benefits of that are, once again, it greatly increases your mouse feel, like you get some sort of feeling for your mouse's shape and stuff. And also, if you didn't have it already, it grants you the ability to move your mouse smoothly, like in a smooth motion. Like when you, for example, want to go from, oh fuck, what's that feature? If you want to go from here to here, like some people just do this instead of like one smooth fluid motion to this with, ideally you want to keep the same speed throughout your tracking in most games because enemy speed is not going to change. So yeah, that's something that you can learn quite well in aim trainers. Like if you don't have that ability, just basic tracking, movement speed and so on, consistent, like just consistent velocity with your mouse. But it also has some disadvantages, which again do matter at high level. You won't get better by playing aim trainers if you're already at a high level. But most of the time you should know that. But if you don't know that, please do know it now. Thing is, tracking, like apart from the just raw ability, like the fundamental part of just being able to move your mouse, it mainly consists of reading your opponent's movements. And also, a lot of time, tracking isn't mandatory for most games. For example, if we look at Overwatch, for example, if you're like one of those continuous rate of fire heroes that do sort of need tracking, like Tracer or something, and you want to shoot like somebody's head. Overwatch heads are rather big, like they aren't just one tiny dot, but the head hitbox is bigger than the actual head most of the time, so you do get away if like you get a head moving from left to right here. You can just hold here until the head leaves, go here, hold, click fire until the head leaves, go here, click fire. Like you don't need smooth tracking, for example, Overwatch. And same with like the Counter-Strike doesn't need a lot of tracking. If at all, it does need some tracking with like spray downs. Oh boy. Yeah, I haven't sprayed in months. Not months, but weeks. I haven't played in quite a while. Like spray transfers or spray control in general, that does need some sort of tracking. But I can anyway playing anyway. But important thing is that you don't necessarily need smooth tracking. It does come with a benefit, but it's not mandatory for most games. For example, Quake does need smooth tracking for your lightning gun and stuff. So tracking ideally should be like, it's pretty obvious, but it should be a smooth motion and it should be along the expected target's movement at its speed. Like if you got a target that moves left, you want to move your mouse left at the speed your target is moving. And like once you have the smooth motions down, which I talked earlier, these also often depend on like things like sensitivity. Like low sense players often have better tracking than high sense players. Also, your mouse grip, like palm grip users, most often have a bit better tracking than like fingertip or claw grip players. And also, people who move their mouse with their arm instead of their wrist, they also have lots of the time better tracking because it's just the same muscle that's required to move your mouse instead of various fingers that come in, like that come into play at various angles of your mouse each. So yeah, that's some requirements that can have you learn tracking way faster. But other than that, everything else is reading, like entirely reading the enemy and correctly interpreting, bruh, where they're going to be. Like if you got somebody, like if you see somebody beneath this U here and he's looking left, chances are he's gonna move left because he's just holding W. So that's pretty much all you need to know to track correctly. If you're already used to the game, you can already like guess his speed or their speed. Sorry, not gendering correctly, and therefore just move your mouse accordingly, and move your mouth accordingly. Well, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So it largely comes down to knowing movement speeds and knowing movement routes or movement matters in games. Like there's some games where people like to jump, so of course tracking won't be as easy because you need to go up and down. And with all that, we can sort of derive for each game what way is the best way to learn aiming inside game against real opponents in real battles. And that means tons of perks. Like play the games. Don't just fool around in practice maps. Like of course, knowing the fundamentals, the basics, how to move your mouse exactly. Like if you haven't played for a while or like if you're new to a game, you wanna get the movement down. Like, well, how do I move my mouse to hit head? That sort of thing, because that's an important skill that you do need to learn. And once you have that down, you can get to perks, of course. But like I said, this is more or less for high level. Like players in high level already know that they can hit targets, they know how to do stuff, and they will much rather want to improve their aim not by clicking on tiny points in the screen, but like having actual situations where they're like holding an angle, expecting an enemy to come out and then shoot them. And that most of the time is found in perks, so play real games. And like for example in Counter-Strike, not just retake, because like if you're playing retake game modes or something, people, they just don't care. They don't care if they win or lose. So they just run out, they wanna shoot and stuff, they're gonna jump and shit. Don't do that. Same with deathmatch most of the time. People are just gonna wide swing, they won't care. They just wanna shoot. And yeah, play real perks. Perks are gonna help you in all games, not just Counter-Strike, but also other games. And of course, if you say, but I want to practice, I want to use the games for benchmarking, sorry, but that's how it works. Most of the time, the people that are gonna be the good players, they're not the ones sitting in maps like aimbots like this here for 2 hours a day. They're the ones that play for 6 hours a day. And they don't really care for like local performance. Are they gonna have a good day or a bad day? They care for global performance. Are they better than last week? Are they better than last month? That sort of stuff. That's what it's about when you want to play to win and like learn games correctly, like the correct way. And yeah. So keep in mind, this mainly applies to high levels of aim, where performance is mainly based on experience and not on fundamentals. So yeah, if you're not at a high level, it will probably make sense to use aim trainers. Me, for my level, like I'm just coming back to Counter-Strike right now, aim trainer would make sense for me. And also, it's always great warm-up. It's way better warm-up than just having this where you can shoot at stationary bots. It's way better when you have like moving dots or something, or like some sort of cylinder that you can track. And actually, you can actually see if you're like getting warmed up or not. Because sometimes like a lot of players can feel if they're warmed up, like if they know that they can hit their shots or not. But like there's people that don't know, like when's my warm-up enough? Like I've practiced for 30 minutes now, am I ready to play or am I not? And aim trainers do have that benchmarking sort of tools that will just tell you, well, you've been improving this and that over the day, you've been hitting these and that shots, so you know that, okay, I'm warm, I can get into the game. That's pretty much it. Just a rant that had to be made. I'm sorry if it like bothered anyone. But yeah, just really annoyed me to see that there's quite a lot of aim trainers trying to false advertise that, oh, you're gonna get godly aim within a month if you just play me. That's just wrong. Thank you for watching. That's it. Love.